to collaborate means two or more people. So that means there could be conflict. But guess what? That conflict could turn into art.
Yeah. Want to navigate in a different direction now, like as we're talking about creative producer mindset, how do you interact with other creative producer mindsets in like networking and collaborating? I don't know, I see you laughing. I feel like that might be a story.
That's a hard one right there.
So how do you kind of approach collaboration with other artists and producers?
The other artists is it's kind of easy.
Right.
Other producers is not so easy.
Right.
I am stubborn, and a lot of other producers. I mean, everybody's got their own method.
Right.
My method works for me, and it's time efficient. Other producers tend to just work different, and I'm not knocking them. It's just their process. Back in the day, I earned this nickname. They used to call me Hitman.
Oh my gosh, why?
Because I used to not waste no time.
Okay.
I used to walk into the studio, record my parts in 1 or 2 takes, and get out.
And you got it done.
And that would save money.
Straight shooter.
Straight up. That will save money.
Oh yeah.
For these
for the studio, for production,
all the above. And so because it's a habit.
Right.
And that habit is still today.
Right.
Where other cats don't do that.
So then let me rephrase it then. Like, what would you say then to an artist who does want to kind of collaborate with like other producers, or other producers who want to collaborate with like other producers as well? Like, what advice would you give them when it comes to collaborating and networking within the music industry?
Keep an open mind.
Okay.
Even though if you talk about me, my mind, I do keep an open mind. When you say if you give me an idea and I'm at the board or whatever, I'm listening. Right. I'm listening to you. It might not seem like I'm listening, but right. I really am listening. Right. But I'm also focused. I would tell the next person to keep a totally open mind in collaboration mode. It's hard for me, but it doesn't because it's hard for me doesn't mean it has to be hard for you.
Right.
So that's what I would say. Just keep an open mind and know that there's no rules. There really are no rules in music,
right.
Which is why I adapt to hip hop so well, because of course hip hop is a natural played against an A sharp at the same time. That would that would irritate your classically trained or trained musician, but when you break it down, it's actually a major 7. When you play this in a chord, that A natural against a A sharp is a major 7. So it's still musical. You just have to learn how to. You just have to accept it,
right?
And not be
uptight
about it, because a lot of musicians are uptight about it,
right?
They say, that's irritating. No, if you really open your mind and get into where it's coming from, it's really not irritating. It's art. It's a work of art,
right?
That's
dope. It really is. So then, like, as we talk about collaborating with others, then what advice would you give people then to like find collaborations, maybe find people to collaborate with? I know typically you ain't got that issue. People come to you.
Oh, watch yourself now. Watch yourself now.
But like, what would you give? Like, what type of advice would you give? No, it's true.
Just keep an open mind. Don't force anything. To collaborate means two or more people. So that means there could be conflict. But guess what? That conflict could turn into art.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I'd say just keep an open mind. You don't necessarily have to go looking for it, go find it. You know, let it happen. If it's supposed to happen, it will happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know I have some dreams that, you know, if it don't happen sooner or later, it ain't going to happen. You know, I have a dream to work with Lil Wayne. You know, I've got a dream to work with. I mean, you know, to add a little flavor to their hip hop. You know,
Right.
You know, but don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm knocking on the door and yo, I need to get to him and da da da. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If Lord wants me to do it, He's going to put me in the same hotel lobby as him, and I'm gonna be able to walk up to him and say, "Hey, man, you want to try something?"
And hopefully he just,
you know, you might not know my work, but you know my work. You know,
I love
okay?
that. So just be open,
Yeah,
be
just
natural.
be open. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would just say maybe not have no fear. Like, you know what I mean?
But fear's good too, though.
Okay. What do you mean by that? But
Fear's good. It's fear. Well, you know, I have to be careful when I say fear. You know, no, fear is not good, but it is natural.
right.
Fear can turn into humble. You know, that's the way I use that. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know, timid. You can be timid, you know, but those things might be the things that catch their attention.
Right.
You know.
Well, when I say have no fear, I mean like don't let fear make you.
I know what you meant.
Do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you meant.
I know what you mean.
You know, I have a confession. I have a problem with. I don't know if you call it a problem. I've been told by several people that I see things through different eyes.
Why is that a problem?
Well, that's why I said that. That's
Okay.
why I said the way I said it. It's not a problem for me.
Right.
But I do see through different eyes. It's just natural. I'm the one that will, you know, there's a contradict with have your cake and eat it too. What?
I never understood.
How you gonna have the cake and not eat it?
I never understood that point to this day.
You know,
if you make the cake and you got the cake, why are you not eating the cake? You just staring at the cake.
Exactly.
I never understood that. Like
Exactly.
I get what they mean by it, but I never understood why they use that phrase for it.
So there are things like
that
that just drive me crazy, and I just see when somebody says it to me, I always I fight it.
Yeah.
I said, no, say something else, because that one doesn't work.
Right. Exactly.
Not with me. That one doesn't work. I'm gonna eat the cake.
Look, I made the cake.
Okay,
It's right there.
Straight up.
Man, that's
so
funny.
that's why I said that.
No, I understand. I understand that completely. I get that.
You are funny.
No, man, like I do. Like I feel like I've spoken to people about this before. Like, can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm like, if it's my cake,
come on.
what am I supposed to do with this?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, I mean, don't take advantage of nobody, obviously, but like, you got some cake, eat it. That's your cake.
Straight up.
You know what I'm
Yeah, there are several more like that too, but we won't get into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of like, let's talk more about like experimenting and risk taking when it comes to like your music. In what ways do you kind of push the boundaries of your comfort zone to pursue kind of innovation with your music?
That's interesting.
And how do you kind of balance experimentation with staying true to who you are as an artist?
You know what? That's actually simple. What sounds right is right.
Okay.
It's cut and dry. What sounds right is right. And you know, I learned that years ago. I was on I have to tell you the story. I was on a session with George Clinton.
Okay.
And I'm barely 20 or whatever. And I walk into this session, and there's a blanket over the meters, over the you have meters back in the day that go like this, for the sound. The kick drum, boom, 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 boom. Those are for the the Zen generation that don't know nothing about meters. Well, I'm wondering why there's a blanket over the meters so the engineer can't see them.
Right.
Well, I would not ask questions. I would just be there, be very observant.
Right.
I was the one that was a cricket. You couldn't hear me. Well, you can hear crickets though, huh?
You can hear crickets. They're pretty loud.
That's a bad example.
They're pretty loud.
I was the ant on the wall. You can't hear the ant on the wall. So what happened is, after the session, I said, "Man, what's up with the meters?" And George wasn't in the room, but he heard me. He was walking back in. He said, the reason for that is, if it sounds right, it is right.
Okay. That makes sense.
If it sounds right, it is right. Like that.
And you took that with you.
I've been till today, still today. And the engineer, when George walked out of the room, the engineer broke it down to me. He said that George doesn't like to see the meters go into the red and the engineer react to the meters going in the red.
Right.
The engineer will naturally back off the levels to make the meters not go into the red.
Right.
But that might not be the right sound.
Exactly.
For
the artist is trying to get.
So he, instead of going technical, he put a sheet over the meters, so he just feel it, and whatever sounds right is right. And those are the records that we grew to love.
I love that. So that's how you stay within your innovation.
Most definitely.
So just like taking pieces, being as creative as possible, and if
Most
it sounds
definitely.
right, it is right.
It is right, because there are a lot of things that quote unquote they say aren't supposed to work together. Well, you can make them work together if you use them in the right spaces.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I use that today still. Yeah.
I love that. If it sounds right, it is right.
If it sounds right, it is right.
Period. I need to stop saying period.
No, you don't. You can say it all you want.
Come up with something else.
Because that's you. That's your thing. You can say it all you want. It's all good.
Okay. So, as a producer, how do you navigate the intersection of like your artist expression and commercial visibility? Like, are there any challenges or compromises that you've had to take along the way to kind of market yourself commercially?
Ooh. Yes and no. How can I explain this? I can record a song that I can hear fit in a format, in a radio format. But when I get that song to radio, they might say, certain stations, they might say, well, it's too much bass. Well, it's up to you to listen to them, that one station, and go back in the studio and turn the bass down a little bit for them, and then send them their recording. The reason why I broke it down like that is because it depends on how you take it. That's the open mind, being open to other criticism, if you want to call that criticism, or you want to be a team player and make that fit within the format of everybody. So I use that example for really everything I do. If I'm working by myself and I'm staying true to myself, I don't necessarily want to alter anything.
Right.
Either you accept it or you don't. But I know that it's going to be accepted with thousands because I know my fans.
Yeah.
And they know me. Everybody doesn't have that confidence, you might say. They have to get past that.
Right, but that comes from experience, though.
And it would be a little harder for a person that's just starting,
Right.
you might say. But you, again, if you're being true to yourself and just trust, that format can work for you too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It really can work. You just have to get to that.
So let's talk a little bit about your demographic. You said that you
Uh-oh.
know your artists, you know your listeners, you know your demographic. How can an artist or an up-and-coming producer find their demographic? What are some things that they can do to kind of figure out who their listener is?
They really have to pay attention to the industry speaking.
Okay.
Let me explain that. They can't just be an artist and sit back and let things happen. You have to get into the business aspect of it. If you're involved in a record company, you have to call that company and ask them who's responding to my recordings, what radio stations are playing the record, and that the radio stations are kind of a fine line now because of the internet. It could be a radio station in LA and they can be listening to it in Africa.
Right.
So you can't really tell off of that, but you can tell from social media.
Social media.
You could, when those fans find you and say, "Hey, I'm hello from Africa," you know, they're telling you where they are.
I'm in Africa.
Yeah, and exactly.
Right.
And so you can tell. You have to just pay attention to where your response is coming from, where the reaction is coming from,
Right.
and then you'll find out where you're being played or who's listening to you. It's kind of easy to do if you're willing to do the work.
Right. Okay.
Because that social media, that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
You have to. That's another job.
It is another
to
job.
get into social media.
Yeah.
You know, and to work it. Yeah, you have to. You know, but you have to be willing to do it if that's what you want to do.
Because if you're trying to be independent,
Yeah.
you have to be your social media manager. You
Yeah.
have to be
fan mail.
your
You know,
production assistant.
I mean, there are still some There's still some people that actually write and mail it.
Right.
You know, and you look at the stamp and see where it's coming from.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you'll know where it's where your audience is. Yeah.
Getting really involved in that business aspect. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people, especially as creatives, we forget it's music business.
Oh man.
We forget that business portion. It's really like we just like music. That's all we see, and
Yeah.
just like creative juices
Yeah.
flowing. But that is
No doubt.
so important.
And and what's sad about it is we as musicians and artists, we don't get paid as much as we're supposed to.
Oh yeah.
And so we're forced to get into the business aspect of it. Nowadays we can release our own records.
Yeah.
You know, and I really encourage everybody to do that. And if somebody picks you up later, if those terms work for you,
Right.
cool. You know, yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay, I love that. How do you strike a balance between kind of technical proficiency and creative institution in your production process? And can you kind of share any insights on your workflow and decision making?
Again, it's simple. Whatever sounds right. If it sounds right, it is right. The way I record, if you sit with me through a recording, which set me, my ears are. If you don't have no ears, that's the most important thing in life in recording music is the most important tool are your ears. You can be blind, you can you can be crippled, you can all that. If you ain't got no ears,
Right.
to hear the music, to make the decision, you're in trouble.
That's true though, because there's just certain things that, as like a producer, as an artist, you can hear.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, wait.
Yeah.
We need to take that up a half a step. You know what I'm saying?
True that.
Or we need or what's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that I'm hearing? Like, it's
Yeah.
just certain things that you can hear that really will
Yeah.
elevate the song to a whole nother level.
Right. And I'm not knocking the people that are, I forget what you call them, that cannot hear, that are deaf, that only go through respond off of vibration. I'm not knocking that. We're talking about a minimum amount of people in the industry.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you got to have ears to work in this industry.
Oh yeah, but no, it's not even. It's more so even. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like the ability to hear what other people can't hear.
Exactly.
That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. And there's a lot of music in the silence.
Yeah.
There's a lot of music in the silence.
Right.
And you got to know that everything doesn't have to be filled up. You know, those are the decision making, the aspect where you have to, say no, stop, that type of thing. But yeah, I personally don't have any problem with that necessarily, because I hear things done before I start attacking. I usually hear it done.
Right.
And so I have to know how to get to the final process.
Yeah.
Like the songs that I was doing for you, I can hear them done before I started working on them.
Right.
Which is, it's to my advantage. And so it's a double-edged sword, because the idea of being open kind of this
kind of
small,
dissolve.
Yeah.
Because it's like you already have it.
Right.
It's like I'm going to attack it.
Exactly.
I get that.
And so what I like to do is finish what my process is, and then I'll attack what you hear. Because that means I've already completed what I needed to do.
Create.
Now I can get what you want.
Right.
Yeah. That's why you got those mixes. Those
Exactly.
those different mixes. Yeah, that's what that is.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then a couple more questions. We about to wrap it up.
I got you.
But I want to ask, like, how would you, what's some good advice that you would give to stay adaptable in the industry with technology changing, with new trends, just a different type of industry standard?
Well, wow. See, you might be interviewing the wrong person for these answers, because I'm
No.
I was blessed to come in right when I'm an analog and a digital person at the same time.
But that's why you are the best person to interview.
Watch yourself now.
I'm serious. That is exactly why you know both aspects.
Watch yourself now.
You know both aspects.
I used to be the tape cutting king. I know how to splice tape, and I know how to do
Sheesh,
all
I can't
that
even
stuff.
imagine what that process is like.
Zen don't know nothing about that.
Sheesh. Yeah, I'm all digital.
I'm okay. Yeah, so even in my recordings, I mean, I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but we were talking about the airplane going by earlier and stuff like that. See, I know how to, if the airplane goes by while we're recording right now, because this is not 100% soundproof room, I could use that sound in my recording.
Right.
Because, see, I'm getting ready to teach you something.
Go ahead. Let's learn.
The ear doesn't accept digital sound that well.
So what do you mean by that?
There are frequencies that the ears will hear from a digital sound. It'll actually give you a headache. You cannot play a CD over and over and over without getting a headache. You'll start to feel some type of way and wonder where it's coming from. If you put on a record, a vinyl record, and let it play over and over, you can let it play 1,000 times and it be soothing to you. Which is the difference between, analog and digital. So I don't mind tricking the ear with adding something analog, something real in the recording to trick your brain to thinking that it's an analog recording. So you might hear a certain type of hiss in my recording, airplane, but you have to listen real hard if you want to identify it. But naturally, it will just go right by, and it'll be a part of the music.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't. Did I answer your question? I don't know if I answered your question.
I mean,
I might have went somewhere else.
No, but that's you. We did go somewhere we needed to go. We did go somewhere we needed to go. But I will just to bring us back a little bit.
Okay.
Do you have any advice on how people, artists, and up and coming producers can stay on trends and stay relevant in the industry, while the industry that we have today, while maintaining their authenticity?
That's actually kind of easy to do. Reason why I say that is because I find today's music is always reaching back into the old school.
Yeah,
and
especially
so,
a lot of sampling.
Yeah. So what is trend? What is being trendy? You know, there are no rules. So if I'd rather you stay true to yourself and what feels good to you, rather than keep up with the times, because that doesn't sound correct to me no more. Because there are no rules.
Right.
You know, what are the times? In a little while, women will be wearing jellies again. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea what jellies are.
See?
I'm not even going to front with you. I'm not even going to lie. Like, what are...
Go Google jellies.
That is a homework assignment that I will do right after this interview. Jellies, wait. Are they shoes?
Okay, shoes, yeah.
Okay, I
shoes.
might know what you're talking about. Are they shoes with the little...
They're like plastic,
They
different plastic
have like
colors.
Little sparkles in them?
Yeah.
My auntie used to wear those. I never knew what they were called. Okay, I know what they're... Dang.
See what I'm saying?
I get it.
Yeah, so there are no rules. Everybody's like reaching back, thinking that they found something new. It's not really new. It was done back then.
Right. Just bringing back
Just
something
bring it
that's
back.
been
Full circle.
lost.
Yeah.
Quote.
Yeah.
Unquote.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love that. Okay. So I have maybe 2 more questions for you. We're wrapping it up. Where do you see the future of music production heading, and what excites you the most about the possibilities? If anything,
am I excited?
You, right. But that's something we can talk about too. If you're excited at all.
That's so funny. That's so funny. You might have to ask me that again. That's funny. You know what?
Well, then, how about this? Where do you see the future of music production heading? If you're not excited about it, where do you see it heading?
Where I see it heading is anybody can be a producer. Anybody, training or no training, anybody can put. If you can put a puzzle together, you can put a track together.
Right.
Because I'm seeing it done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing it done, and it's still a work of art.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still a work of art. It's not. It's still work of art. It's still original, although the pieces are not original. You didn't think of the pieces. They're already store made.
Yeah.
You know, and so that scares me.
Kind of that creativity level being lost.
That scares me. Yeah, because that makes our minds lazy. If it's already done, and all you have to do is line them up,
plug,
and push a button, that's lazy. And you wow, this you really hitting home.
Look, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get these hard answers.
That's where this AI crap and this these robots taking over human gigs, that's where it gets really jacked up. Because it all falls in together as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Yeah. And so for that, it's tragic. The future is tragic to me.
Ooh.
Just to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. How about you give our listeners then a homework assignment, how they could stay creative and to create something real?
Learn an instrument, learn how to play, learn how to really listen. And when I say really listen, that means, for example, when I'm called to be a musical director, I'm being called to know everybody's part. That means I have to know the bass part, the guitar part, the keyboard part, because when they're not playing what they're supposed to be playing, I need to hear that they're playing the wrong stuff. So you have to open your ears and your mind to really know how to listen to the little things, because it's the little things that build up the big things. That's my hardcore advice. Learn an instrument and make your brain work and not be lazy. Because when you depend on the mechanics, the computers and stuff like that, and not your hands and creating with your hands, that's you're missing out on a lot of stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, I love that. Shoot, that low key wrapped up into my next question.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna ask you anyway. Any last remarks that you have that you want to give to our listeners on how they could stay hot in the world of music production?
Again, that's hard, because I think if you think you're hot, you're hot.
Period.
And if you like it, 1,000 other people are gonna like it. There's always somebody that thinks like you to a certain extent. There's always going to be somebody that likes what you like to a certain extent. And so just stay true to yourself and be happy and stay healthy. And all of these things will measure up into success as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Craig. Yo, this has been Fya Sidechats with your girl Fya. Featuring Mr. Craig T.
Fya.
And we're signing out. Stay hot like fire.
Hot.